Welcome to Motivation Local, a podcast where we explore how place shapes identity, community, and the way we see ourselves. I'm your host, Corey Sadlemyer, and I'm grateful you've joined me for Season 2. I'm grateful too for the generous support from TELUS STORYHIVE, supporting so many podcasts across Alberta and British Columbia. Lived experience doesn't just shape how people view their community, it also influences how they view themselves. The sum of these experiences and memories forms a narrative about place. At the heart of this season, we continue to explore how these stories intersect, how community motivates its people, and how people in turn motivate their community. This year, our conversations will stretch further. We'll still share stories rooted in Medicine Hat, but with a bit of a twist. Many of this season's episodes will be presented through the eyes of some of our more creative community members. Each will bring a unique perspective on the connection between place and identity. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that Motivation Local is created on the traditional lands of the Blackfoot and Cree peoples, within the homelands of the Métis Nation, and at the meeting place of Treaty 4 and Treaty 7. These lands have been gathering places for generations, and we honor and learn from the deep relationships Indigenous people continue to have with this land. I look forward to sharing this new season of conversations with you on Motivation Local. Today's guest is Elizabeth McNally, or Liz, as most people know her. She's a realtor, entrepreneur, and creative communicator whose company, Real Estate Collective, has reimagined what real estate can look like in a smaller city. Like many of us, Liz once dreamed of moving away, but instead, she stayed and built something remarkable right here in her hometown. Through thoughtful storytelling, stunning visuals, and a collaborative approach that connects Medicine Hat with other small markets, she's helped create a new kind of brand for small city living, one rooted in connection, creativity, and community pride. In our conversation, we talk about finding purpose where you are, turning an ordinary profession into a creative practice, and how collaboration, not competition, can redefine what success looks like in a city like ours. This is Elizabeth McNally on staying, creating, and reimagining home in Medicine Hat. So you have lots of social media presence, and one of the things that you noted in there recently was that you didn't necessarily imagine yourself always staying in Medicine Hat.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I know that there are others who feel that way, and so I kind of want to start there.
Sure.
You may, in fact, I can actually remember going to an open house, and maybe one of your first open houses in Southridge. So I remember, it's a little while ago.
A minute ago?
Yeah, a minute, just a minute. And so, yeah, what did you always dream of being here? And I think I know the answer to that, but let's pick up the thread there.
Well, yeah, I guess as you mentioned, you caught that I had said that at some points I didn't think that I would stay in Medicine Hat.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I guess I didn't always dream of being here. As I was growing up here, I always imagined I would move away.
Yeah.
And not that I wanted to for any particular reason, but just, smaller community. I was either going to the mountains or I was going to the big city. I always thought I'd get into some sort of, interior design or fashion design or something like that. Like I definitely had an eye for that. And that was coming out of school. That was what I felt like I was good at. And then after I opened my little store here in Medicine Hat, I got, it was called Primary Planet. I had it for a couple years. I decided to give real estate a try, but I also at that point didn't envision myself being here.
Yeah.
For as long as I have been, and setting up camp and having my family and starting a business, right? I didn't really think of real estate as a business at that time.
But you always had that kind of entrepreneurial bug.
Oh, yeah. I still think about a million different businesses all at the same time. It's just, we were talking about podcasts earlier, and I'm always listening to business podcasts and different ideas and things like that. So yeah, I've always had that bug. I get it from my parents, I guess.
Yeah. And you've had that, that your family's been connected to Medicine Hat for a long time, and taken on lots of projects here, particularly connected to the core of the community.
Oh yeah.
Was that part of it?
Oh, big time. Like I grew up renovating buildings with my parents. Like my dad was in real estate in the late 80s, early 90s. And I think hopefully I have the story right, but he was selling buildings to other people. And he realized like, hey, why aren't we buying these buildings? And he was always really creative with financing and things like that. So, and back in the day it was a little easier for people. So they bought these older buildings, like character buildings, turn of the century brick on the Southeast Hill. And so from the time I was 12, I was painting and cleaning and a big part of it.
Yeah.
So I think it just was part of what I did. And then whenever they started a project, it would just draw me back in.
Yeah.
You know, there was a project that they did, Diana Court on Aberdeen Street in 2006. And that was a big project for us. We turned little apartments into condos, which was kind of new.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just felt like that was a big part of why I was here. Yeah, I love the city.
Yeah. My uncle used to be the manager at the Alpha Dairy.
No way.
Yeah.
I love that. The dairy was such a cool project. I love that project.
And
that was
then
2000.
And then they moved out to that building out towards the Medelta there.
Okay.
Yeah. And then eventually you don't have milk companies around
I know.
anymore.
You know what? And the cool thing about that, I hope I'm not taking it off topic,
That's all right.
but I had a client who, and I still think about her to this day, she married the butter man in the basement of that building.
Oh, really?
So the butter was turned, so she told me the whole story. The butter was turned in the basement. And honestly, the basement was so terrifying when they first bought that building because it had been abandoned for years, right? Like there was always like talk of, you know, parties and seances and things like that. It was spooky, right? And it was such a scary basement. And this tiny set of stairs went down, and we actually salvaged the stairs, and they're kind of there like as art almost now, like as history.
Yeah.
So she married the butter man. And so she would tell me about how she would sneak downstairs to go talk to him. Like, how cool is that story? And so I worked with her to sell her home and buy a condo. Yeah. And that was super special. I always think that I need to get her in there just for those last, like the memory. I know, right? So good. I mean, that's what's so special about the city is that you can have those memories and those conversations with people. That's what I love, I think. Yeah. And I just didn't realize it.
Was there ever a temptation to see this as a stepping stone to something larger at a different community or a larger community? Or
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I just thought real estate for me was just a moment in time. I thought maybe I'd do it for 5 years, 6 years, just while kind of I was figuring life out and hanging out and helping my parents with their projects. And then, it just was something I felt like I was good at, and I really like the relation. I'm a real relationships person. Like I think that's what I'm actually the best at. You know, the business end sometimes not so much. My bookkeeper might say that, but I'm more of a relationships person, and I find that like that piece really keeps me going, and I can't see myself going anywhere else. And it's been years that I haven't.
Right.
Like this. When we're talking about me thinking about moving out, this was like, or moving away, this would be like my 20s. Right. Like, I've been in real estate for 21 years now. Yeah. So it's a minute ago.
Yeah. this gray beard and some dates there.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't gray when you came to my open
I don't think I could grow facial hair then.
Now we're both growing facial hair.
When you think of home, like a Medicine Hat as home, are there images or places or feelings or relationships that spring to mind that make you just think that this is what makes home?
Oh man, that's a really lovely question. Yeah, so like when I think of Medicine Hat and home, I think of walking from my parents' house on Riverside around to the library to like go to the library when I was a kid and look at Bugtown, stuff like that. Bugtown was so cool. I love the core. Like I'm really passionate about it. I know it's changed over the years, and I still like think about when Eaton's was here. Like you realize you're kind of aging when you like think about how it felt when you were a kid. Yeah. But I still think that feeling's there in a way, right? You're just like, when the community gets together to, have events downtown or really anywhere, like the Balloon Festival, things like that. It's just so special. And it's really wonderful for me because my kids are growing up here. My parents are still here. So we walk down to their house now. My kids walk to the library. It's just, I don't know, it's just awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
Well, we live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that's, when we lived further from the core, didn't really realize that, how nice that is to be able to, I can walk to the Safeway, or I can, just make a quick trip down to the library or downtown, or
go to the Esplanade for a show.
Right. Yeah, and I can leave the car at home. And it's that's easy.
Yeah, it's changed over the years, right? But it's just it's really special. I remember loving that my kids could come home for lunch. That was kind of a funny, because your kids could do right.
Yeah. Well, except I was at
You're
school
a teacher,
with
so
them.
you couldn't. Yeah. But I remember I grew up going home for lunch. Like I lived on Riverside and I went to Riverside School, and I just assumed that was normal still. So I sent my kids across and I told them come home for lunch, and then one day my kids came home for lunch. They were still pretty little, and I got a knock on my door, and it was the principal and somebody else from the I don't know, what would you call it, like the playground watch or whatever. Okay. And they were quite worried because they saw a child leave and go into this mysterious house. So, I was super grateful because they were obviously watching out for my kids, but also just baffled. But I was like, oh, I didn't even really realize that I should be letting you know that my kids come home for lunch. I just assumed it was normal.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Those changes over time. We were talking about that last week, just with the situation with the teachers in the province. Like it used to be that the teachers went into the staff room to smoke and play bridge, and the kids all went home for lunch. And now it's weird if a kid goes home for lunch, right?
It totally was. It just kind of surprised me, but also, I guess, everybody's home. Everybody's at school for lunch now. But as far as the car goes, I love that about it. It's just that walkability is really important to me. And we never left the core as we were moving around. My parents are still in the same house.
Nice. Yeah. So, like you said, you've been connected here for a long time. Yeah. Kids are starting to grow, and they're doing some cool things. And you guys zip out to the mountains now and then. How have you seen your own, like, whether that's your personal or professional identity, kind of evolve over time? With family changes, community changes, and I mean family changes in the sense that families getting older and doing different things. And
well, I guess at a certain point I realized this was home. You don't really realize it when you're thinking about maybe what am I going to do next? Like we were talking, your son's off at university, and what opportunities come from that, and where you're going to go from there. And my husband and I have always been sort of in the mountains as well. Our hearts have been there too. Yeah. But the nice thing about Medicine Hat is that it's very affordable to live here. It has everything we need, and we can still go. We can travel, we can drive, we can get places. So as far as that goes, once I realized this was it, I was kind of setting up shop, and growing my team and building my business. I think I just realized that it's really important to me to not only be here as a person working, but be a active participant in the community. So how can I support it and encourage it to be a place where people want to come, right? Because really, as a real estate agent, my ultimate goal is for people to stay and love where they live, right? So not only is it just their home, it's their community, in a smaller sense, so the hill, right. But then it's the city,
right? You're
and
not
then
just
it's
selling
surrounding
them a house,
areas.
right?
No, it's I'm selling them elk water, right? Or you can go to the Red Rock Coulees, or Dinosaur Park. There's so many cool things, right? And I think a lot of people who even live here don't realize it.
Right.
So
Yeah, like the things that I think you see that in lots of communities. You'll go visit somewhere and you say, yeah, we did this thing. And they're like, I don't even know that existed.
yeah, right?
Right?
I know when I went to Red Rock Coolies, I was an adult, like a full-blown adult,
Yeah.
not just like
Yeah.
I was married and had kids already,
Yeah.
right? And it was the first time I'd ever been there. I was like, this place is like being on Mars.
Yeah.
So cool,
And it's
right?
not that far away.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just not even a day trip. It's
Yeah.
like a half day trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. So, I mean, professionally, I feel like I can see the evolution for myself is just, yes, my job and my work is here, and I really appreciate that. And I've been really fortunate that the community supported me. But I think the bigger picture is me supporting the community, right?
The last season, my focus was really on community and identity, and I wanted to kind of continue that theme this year, and connect it a bit to creativity. And so one of the reasons I wanted to have you on is I've seen that in your marketing and your approach to things. And one of the things that I've noticed lately that I thought was really interesting was you've kind of created this alliance or partnership with another real estate agent in another community. It seems to be like a same size community.
Yeah, in a completely different place.
Yeah. And I just
Yeah.
I'm fascinated about how you conceived of that idea and how that's added to your brand. And
Cool.
yeah.
I love that. Yeah, well, the cool thing about the way the world is today is you can live in one place and be connected with people all over the place, right? Which is so wonderful. Yeah, so I met Desi, so she's my partner in Agents Without Borders. And it kind of came out of just looking for something a little bit more, like some deeper connection within my industry. And I was going to conferences and, we were talking about, like, you went to a podcast,
Right.
con or whatever, PodCon or something?
Pod Summit.
Yeah, Pod Summit.
yeah.
So these summits and conferences and stuff like that, I think people are just really realizing that there's so much more to everything that we do. When we go up somewhere, we take away something and bring it back. And it's really special.
Yeah.
It changes us somehow, right? And we bring it back to our families, our community, our teams. And so when I met Desi, we just realized we really aligned in a lot of ways, even though we were she's from the United States.
Okay.
She's down in Burley, Idaho. So it's actually kind of small.
Yeah.
Burley's kind of her surrounding is about 10,000.
Okay.
So it's smaller.
Yeah.
But then the original concept was like selling big and small communities. Like, how do you gain market share? And so it was very work related.
Yeah.
And then we just realized that we were like sisters from another mister, and we felt like we could help other people in other communities that maybe were feeling like us, like just looking for something different, something more like a community feel on a broader sense.
Yeah.
And so we conceived of like, let's do this podcast thing, and what's next? Like, can we put on a conference? And so it's just like you're saying, creativity is something that I'm really passionate about, and just being able to continue like expanding ideas. And some of the ideas are terrible. I've had some really bad ideas, but like, how cool is it? Like, I felt anyway, it was really cool that we were able to bring a real estate conference here.
Yeah.
So then there was people from the United States, there was people from like Manitoba came, from Saskatchewan, like everybody came to Medicine Hat. And then they were able to take in the Balloon Festival, which was so cool. And it was now people talk about it and know about it. And
Well, any unexpected outcomes from that?
from the conference?
Yeah.
I think I was pleasantly surprised at the people that came from so far away.
Yeah.
Like people from Winnipeg came, which was like Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
It's just like you think about us as kind of small, but really like there's been some amazing people have come from here that continue to support our community. And like, why did I think that? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just, of course they would come.
And
Like, it's
do
so
it
cool.
again?
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to keep moving forward with it and doing different things. We did one. So the idea was we'll do one in Canada and then one in the United States. So we did do one in Boise,
Okay.
which was really fun too
Yeah.
in September. So
Yeah.
it was good. It was just, we're just trying to bring different ideas to people. So it's not necessarily just for real estate agents,
Yeah.
right? It could be for anybody that's just looking for some inspiration and ideas. So yeah.
When you think of creative campaigns that you've taken on? What would be one or two that would just jump out at you as going like, that one we nailed?
Well, actually, this is like way back.
Yeah.
I put on a festival called the Sunflower Festival.
Okay.
And that was when I had my little store over on Aberdeen Street. Yeah. And man, that was so cool and fun. Like, it was like, that was the cool festival. I love that. And it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't too big, but the community supported it. We had musicians come out. It was really fun. It was kind of like a small town take on the Lilac Festival in Calgary. Because I'd gone to the Lilac Festival and I came back and I was like, I want to do this for Medicine Hat. So it did go for a couple of years, but then, you know, it takes a lot of support, and it takes people who are really like willing to put in the work, because there's so much work behind these things, right? Yeah. So that went really well until I just decided it was time for something different.
Well, you think about, like, you mentioned the Balloon Festival a couple times. Like, that is like, that's become an institution in
It's
Medicine,
epic,
right?
Like, it's epic. Yeah.
And
so amazing.
But it hasn't been around that long.
No.
Right. And so to me, that, well, A, there is really a lot of hard work to doing things like that.
And volunteers.
But B, it doesn't take long to make something that makes a difference, right? Like, it's...
I 1,000% agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just committing to it and helping other people see what it can do for, you know, them and the community. Because I think the thing with the Balloon Festival is not only is it this beautiful thing for Medicine Hat, but it's also like this beautiful thing, like, introspectively. Like, this is so amazing. Like, this is part of our city now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so special.
Yeah. And what I've seen is multiple groups starting to plan the things that they're doing around the Balloon Festival, right? So, like, I know the school division has, like, these spring meetings, and now that meeting has shifted to Medicine Hat, and it's at that same time. And let's go check out the balloons. And
it's so special, right? Yeah, and that's why I planned my conference around it, because it was like one more reason for people to come, which is like, okay, guys, well, there's this Balloon Festival happening at the same time. So not only can you take in my real estate conference, but you can also see these amazing balloons and experience the city in a totally different way. Yeah. So, that was really... I mean, the Blue Festival is amazing. Yeah. We're super lucky to have that. Willie and Cindy and all the volunteers are,
Yeah. It's a ton of work. And
it's so much work.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, that when I think about when I put on my tiny festival, like, literally it was like convincing the city at that time to close down the streets was like, that was the massive big win for me, you know? But it's like, once you show the city or the community, like, that it can be done, then it can be done again. Right. But then it's just, you know, that was more than 20 years ago we did that. So it was a different time. But I was really proud of that because you'd asked about that. Yeah. And then I think with regards to, like, the renovating older buildings, I mean, I'm really proud of my family for helping restore the older buildings in the community. So, like, the dairy and the Flatiron building and some apartment buildings, and then the beverage. Right. We just moved our office into the beverage. I saw that, You have to come down.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. Yeah. So, it feels really good.
Yeah. I want to come back to what you said about convincing the city on something, but I'll wait for that one. I got a question on that. How about balancing it all? Like, so there's being a real estate agent, there's a functional administrative side to all of that, and then the creative side and the relationship side. How do you pull that off?
Well, I have an amazing team. I mean, I couldn't do it without my team now. Like, I've got Jackie in the office, and she really helps me with the administration part, because I think I alluded to it earlier. That's not my forte. So, and I think of building any business, it's maybe kind of like having a family. Like, you only have one child at first. And if you started with 5 children, it would be way crazier, right? Yeah. So then you're like, okay, I can have 2. Yeah. Maybe I'll add 3. I heard a third isn't as bad, you know, kind of thing. But so I've just built it up over time. And then I've tried different things out, like added, taken away. I've definitely got a lot of help now. Yeah. And then, you know, we do work with, so I've got a pretty decent sized team now. Like, I've got a couple people in-house, and then I've got some other agents that work on my team. And so that allows me a little bit more creative freedom there.
Yeah, it's one of the kind of the sub threads that I hoped for the 14 people that will watch this podcast is like the word that came to my head was hope. In that, if there were younger people who were thinking about how do I make it in my community, or how do I do this, and what are the things I need to do to allow me to be creative but successful, and the kind of that entrepreneurial mindset, I think, is an important part of that. But also, I think that surrounding yourself with the right people is just as important.
100%. And I mean, it's just you have to be willing, depending on whatever your business is that you're working at. If you're an entrepreneur, it's day in and day out, and there's little breaks to kind of throw family and like other creativity in. You just have to work with it, and you work really hard at it until you get some extra time, right? Like when I first started in real estate, I did miss out on, birthday parties and things like that maybe people aren't willing to. So it just depends on the person,
right?
Because you gotta work it if you're gonna build it, right? But I feel like getting into like, if you're wanting to kind of dive into and get to know your community, it's just say yes to a few things, and it maybe doesn't have to be like everything, maybe just things you're passionate about, right? Like we're really passionate about the library, so we sponsor the library, or we sponsor the Bloom Festival, things like that, and so we dive into those a little bit deeper than maybe some other aspects.
So on that passionate angle, what if you had I'm thinking like this is going to come out in like April or May of next year.
Okay,
the podcast.
Perfect.
So we got
in time for the Bloom Festival.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. But it's being recorded in the shadow of an election that just finished. And you mentioned something about convincing the city to close down a street or two, and that you have to prove to them that it would work to make that happen. And so it doesn't necessarily. My question isn't necessarily directed to telling the city what to do, although maybe I'm leading you in that direction. If you had the power to do one or two things differently for our community, what might be on your list? Oh
my goodness, that's a loaded question.
And you can be as careful as you want, and you can come back after and say, I don't actually want to have that one out there.
I think the one thing I actually would like to see them support the downtown community in a little bit different way. I realize that downtown's not for everybody. It's interesting that, because I love it, so I'm constantly like trying to get people to go to the coffee shops downtown and stuff like that. And it always surprises me how many people haven't been. Yeah. But like the core of a community is really just sort of like the heart, I've always felt. And I'm open to debate about it. But my thoughts on that is downtown businesses really struggle. And so I'd like to see a few more creative ways to help business owners or building owners save. Like they have done some things in the past that were really good. They had some grants, like if you were going to like replace your windows or something like that, which honestly, that was fantastic because it definitely helped. But maybe in the tax department, things like that, like they could be doing some different things and looking to other centers for some ideas there. I also would like it if they'd stop closing the streets downtown. Like just do it once. So I think we're almost done though. So no complaints there. But I just feel like making it a little bit easier on people that run businesses downtown. I would like to see that. And as far as, encouraging people to come, I know that they're really making a big effort. So I'm glad to see that, because I have noticed that they are allowing street closures and stuff like that for different events.
Not just for construction.
Yeah, not just construction. The Rib Fest, they closed some streets down for that. But that'd be my big thing. Or maybe doing some different kind of promotions to get people to encourage them to come downtown a little bit more.
It was a few years ago, but there was I don't know if it was like a Midnight Madness kind of thing, and you guys there was that bar in the basement of the beverage, and it was I don't know, maybe like minus 1 or 2 degrees, and it was snowing, and they had closed 2nd Street, and people were just.
Midnight Madness.
Yeah, and people were just kind of walking around, and it was packed. Like there were so many people. Yeah, and it was like, I think this is kind of what it should be. Like I've I've been to Stone Street in New York, or like these places where they've actually closed it and the foot traffic has gone way up, and they've made it like a restaurant district or whatever the idea is.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah, that would be my dream for down there.
I like that idea. I could dream on that too.
Yeah.
Because we did the sip and shop, and then we ran. We had a bunch of artisans and crafters through there, which was so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that. Like I think about like oil cans with fires,
right?
And like people standing around drinking hot chocolate.
Right.
So I love that. Yeah.
In Europe, they'd have like just a big vat of, I think the flu vog or something. I don't know what it is. You're just drinking whatever is inside that thing.
Well, and I do think maybe it's just like a little bit more like open-mindedness as far as that goes. But yeah, I'd like to see, like, I think you can't really close a street down and have it like walking traffic only if they're not going to encourage businesses that, like, business is just really expensive.
Yeah.
And people aren't going to thrive just making the bare minimum.
Yeah.
There's so much competition now for people with big box and Amazon and all those things. So it's like, how do we help people who want to open up beautiful little bookstores or little restaurants or whatever? How do we help them thrive and not make it more expensive and harder for them?
Yeah.
Those are the questions I have. And I mean, I don't know all of the ins and outs, but I do know, like you go to older cities, so like New York, and maybe the bathrooms aren't all accessible,
right?
But they still allow a little restaurant there, something like that. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything against accessibility, like
right.
I don't, but it's more like, okay, well, sometimes you just have to make things fit so that it brings the people, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. Sometimes we have rules that we probably could find other ways around.
Maybe for certain areas, right? Like
yeah.
an older downtown area, because it's so expensive to upgrade those buildings. And now, especially with the cost of construction and renovations and stuff like that, it's not really viable.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's just making it easier.
Yeah.
And mostly it's financial.
Yeah.
Like reality is mostly financial.
How about unrecognized opportunities? Do you think our community has some that are that we should be taking a shot at?
Well, I don't know. You mean like tourism?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I met with Jace, and Jace had he's
doing a really good job
and,
with tourism. I'm actually really impressed with what they've been doing.
Yeah. Is there, I don't know, is there something that that maybe you've seen in other communities? You go, you know what, that would work in
Well, the
Medicine
one thing
Hat.
I always thought, and I don't even know if it's even possible, would be like, how cool would it be if, like, the college, for example, which, I mean, I love that we have the college and it's brought a lot of people into the city, but it doesn't really have like a hub around it. Like, the arts department, for example, what if they brought a piece of the college downtown?
Right, kind of a campus.
Yeah, like a bit of a campus. Like, I always thought that would be really interesting, because we do have some larger buildings that probably at certain points could have housed something piece of campus. I think that would be good, because I think it's about youth and vibrancy on one hand, because then that brings everybody else, right? Like, I mean, even like the arts, was it the community? What do they call it? It's where the arts department is now up there.
Oh, the cultural center.
The cultural center.
Yeah.
Like, what if the cultural center or pieces of the cultural center came downtown? I mean, I keep thinking I'm focusing on downtown, but that's just because that's where my universe kind of rolls. But I mean, there's things like that. I'd like to see stuff. I mean, as far as bringing in industry, it'd be nice if they brought in some industry, but I'm just, at this point, I'm kind of just like head down focused on selling houses. So I'll support anything. Like, bring it on. I'll take it in, you know?
Something to do, maybe with AI. Like, we'll,
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Neither do I. And I'm working in that stuff now, and I don't know, so.
Well, I mean, even like when you think about construction and housing and stuff, it's just everything is really expensive. So, you know, maybe it's bringing, okay, this is a really silly idea that I've always kind of thought would be really cool, is so when you go to Chicago, They have the bean. Have you ever seen the bean?
No.
It's this massive, basically reflective. It's mirror everywhere, right? And people love taking pictures of themselves. So speaking of like AI or like the new world, it's just, what if they put something downtown, like a giant piece of art or anywhere in the city? Actually, you could place it throughout the city. This is going off tangent a little bit, but where people could just take pictures of themselves because that's the way the world is now.
Yeah, like that love sign in New York.
Yeah, something like that, right? Where it's just like the ghost.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Yeah. Like that thing is very cool. I'm sure lots of people have taken pictures of themselves in front of it. And then people are like, hey, where's that ghost? Yeah. And then they find out it's by the giant chess set. Yeah. And then they find out there's a giant chess set. Right. And then they're like, hey, I didn't even realize this. And then they see that, there's the Duggan house across the street or whatever. Like, just, I'm more into like little things like that. Yeah. Instead of big industry. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I even
making it fun.
Think of your, conceptually, if you have a portion of a post-secondary institution, maybe the Medicine College, located downtown. Now those students are more likely to live in that area, right? And you start to bring people to that core.
They want to eat,
right?
They want to eat. They want to go for coffee. Places stay open a little bit later. Yeah, Lots of all benefits. Of a sudden, like they're supporting the convenience store or whatever, So that would be pretty neat, actually. Yeah. I don't know if that's possible, but I'd like to see that.
Yeah. In the last year, just back on the creativity piece, what's something that you think has had the biggest impact on your success in terms of a creative decision?
Well, for me, staging was a huge piece of my business specifically. So creatively, that was something I really enjoyed. We started really early on, about 15 years ago. We just started, it was just kind of simple, like reorganizing someone's house and getting it ready for photos and thinking about how the photos would look. And then we just kind of expanded on that. So that piece has been really fun for me. And I think that's been a big part of what I do in my business and my success for sure. Because people are like, oh, Elizabeth's listings, they look great. What's she doing differently? And then we brought in professional photography. And like I always like to try the new stuff, right? Yeah. So,
And I'm guessing lots of people don't realize how much work is involved in staging a house.
There's a lot, There's a lot of work. No, they don't. It's kind of like, oh, it's beautiful. It's kind of like even the festivals we were talking about. Right. Oh, this is magical. I love this. This is the best. But they don't see all the work behind the scenes.
And how do people receive that? Like if you're living in that house and your house is being staged, are they like, oh, I wish I would have done this 10 years ago?
Yes, yes, really well for the most part. I mean, some people don't like other people's stuff in their space, right? So we have run into that. So that's a little bit of a workaround. But lots of people are just like, oh man, like it's kind of like Love It or List It, if you've seen that show. Right, but when you work with me, you have to list it. That's part of the deal. It's not a one or the other. I have had a couple people who have taken their houses off the market because they liked it so much after it was done. Oh, really? Yeah. So they were happy. They'll tell their friends about me. Yeah. It's good. Yeah. So it's good.
Kind of flip side of that, if if there's times in your ebb and flow of seasons that you feel stuck or not sure what to do next, what do you do to get yourself unstuck? What do you do to recharge?
Well, I listen to podcasts a lot. Go to conferences. I try to meet new people or try different things out. I'll take a pottery course or, try a new challenge out. That's just kind of the way my brain works. Like I always kind of need something happening in my life to do that. So, I just say take a step back and try something new. Yeah. But I never think to myself like, oh, I'm going to quit this business or I'm going to try something out completely different. I'm always just like open to different things, How do I change it up a bit? Change location, change how I roll business out. Yeah. Yeah. Especially the beauty of like the Internet of Things now is you can constantly be trying new things to see what works
There's
for you.
No shortage of ideas.
Right? It's almost overwhelming. It's almost overwhelming. Well, and then you find your people too, right? Like the beauty of it is you know, why can't someone just see you and how you converse with people, and all of a sudden there's like this new person in your life because they're supporting your podcast, or supporting what you're doing, you know, so it's cool.
I was thinking about if you, let's say your conference that you hosted, and you had a little group of 3 or 4 people, and you wanted to just show them like the 3 things that just define your community. Where would you take them, or what experience would you have them take in?
Okay.
It's stranger from Manitoba or wherever.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Balloon Fest was just so rad. I know we keep bringing that up, but that was cool. But if there wasn't a Balloon Fest on that day, I'd probably take them for a walk on the Ghost Trail, because I don't know if you guys know where the Ghost Trail is, but it's the dirt path behind the houses on Riverside. So that's my hood. I grew up being a Riverside rat down there. Yeah. And so I would probably go for a walk down there. I'd take them to Medalta. I love Medalta. I just think it's so cool. And I'd take them for coffee downtown. Yeah.
Sounds like a good afternoon.
Right? It's kind of my favorite.
Yeah.
So,
what's next for you?
well, right now I'm working on my Agents Without Borders. I don't know exactly what direction that's going in, but I'm really enjoying it. I love talking to new people, so I'm having a great time with that. And we just opened up our new office.
Yeah.
So in that space, there's some co-work space. So I'm hoping to have some other agents join in and have some fun. We've got a ping pong table in there. It's super cool. It's the Google of Medicine Hat.
All right.
I'm just going to say that right now. Google of Medicine Hat. And by the time this podcast comes out, it will be, because I've got some time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really, my kids are getting older. So Eva's 16, Cedar's 14. I just want to be with them as much as I can.
Yeah.
Before they go off to do their own magical things.
Yeah.
So I'm really, the last 2 years, I don't miss an event, you know, because I did in the beginning.
Right.
When I was getting things going.
Yeah. But now you can, and
Yeah, because I have my support. I have my team,
Yeah.
which I really appreciate. So.
Yeah. And where do people find you?
Well, I mean, you can Google me, Elizabeth McNally, and stuff will come up. And then Instagram, I'm really good on there. Facebook, I'm available. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So.
Cool. Well, I really appreciate you doing this. I will, get this all edited up and give you a chance, a little preview.
Cool.
Make
Thanks.
sure
It's been fun.
What you hoped for.
Whatever you put out, I'm fine with. I hope it was what you hoped for.
No, this is great. Motivation Local is produced by Table 4 Productions with the generous support of TELUS STORYHIVE. You can find our episodes on Optic TV, at our website, motivationlocal.com, on our YouTube channel, or wherever you get your podcasts. Our producer is Turner Sadlemyer. Our theme music was composed by Medicine Hat musical artist Snakes and the Riot. As always, thanks for watching or listening to our podcast. If you've enjoyed what you've heard here, don't hesitate to subscribe to our channel or to leave us some feedback.